Welcome to the Holism Evolution Graph, linking science, mind, and religion. This is the overview. It's going to really kind of blitz its way through the graph. There are 3 other longer videos that you can watch, which will go through the different sections of the graph in more detail. But watch this, and if it catches your fancy, then please go ahead and watch the others. So this Holism Evolution Graph was developed from my own PhD research because as I got into my study, I realized as an experienced science teacher of religious students that I'd always felt a lack of a bridge between science and religion as a failure of both. And I plan to address this problem both for myself and for my students. So my research took the form of an autoethnography, the word you can see inside the graph in the kind of right-hand side. And this autoethnography is the study of a life with cultural context. So all the information here is really subjective. And as you'll see above the line, everything is subjective. So it's impossible to empirically prove anything of the sort. And so I use an autoethnography to figure with my own thinking, to develop my own reality, the reality with a W just above autoethnography. And that is my construct of reality. So that's all I claim for this graph, certainly nothing more universal than that, although it has been thoroughly tested by myself. So in my study, I used my own as well as researched personal experiences of people who claim to speak to nature spirits or animals, or who have memories of past lives or near-death experiences. And you may find in those words some connection to indigenous traditional practices and knowledge. I used these experiences to wrestle with the practices and findings of science, of some of the major modern religions, and of indigenous knowledge to solve my problem. So looking at the graph, you can see the 2 scales. These are 2 key holism ideas that I used to build the graph. And of course, as I said, this graph represents my developed reality with a W, my personally defensible idea of reality. So the horizontal scale looks at evolution as having begun on the left with energy and matter from the Big Bang, and from which, when they had evolved into the Earth conditions as we knew it when life began. So that's a very balanced and mature set of conditions. Then, of course, life could emerge. Once life had evolved to a high degree, then mind, like that of the higher animals, could emerge. And of the manifest reality so far, then it's just the human personality is the final kind of emergence that's taken place. And this is objectively identifiable as having taken place. But of course, it's Smuts who's arranged them in this way. It's his logic for this kind of emergent sense of new wholes, new substances emerging with time. So on the scale, the human personality must be imagined as only able to manifest into an evolved mind, a highly evolved mind, which again is only possible to manifest because of a highly matured life form, a very mature body, and so on, going down. So the next level of evolution beyond the personality is probably only able to manifest, if the logic of Smuts is correct, into a mature and evolved human personality. So that's the logic of where to next. Unless, of course, you believe that we've already arrived and this is it, we're the pinnacle of evolution. But I suspect not, and certainly Smuts' scale seems to indicate not. So the next level of evolution will probably only be able to manifest into a matured and evolved human personality, as the previous logic shows. Looking on the vertical scale, what I call the Goethean scale, this demonstrates the subjective lived experiences that are associated with the manifest elements of each step or substance of Smuts' evolution. So please look on the far left of the graph. The manifest waves and vibrations studied in science are subjectively experienced as sound and light. And what we mean by that is, although there's a tremendous intimacy between the waves and vibrations and our experience of sound and light, that sound and light don't actually exist, or not provably anyway, in the outer world. All we study in science are those waves and vibrations. But of course, we have sensations, senses, as we say, of them as sound and light. And these all are possibly, when you look at indigenous knowledge, there are indications or hints that these are all manifestations of nature spirits, other beings that stand behind everything that is both manifest and our inner experiences of them. And it's not just indigenous knowledge. There are a couple of references in the Bible, the New Testament as well. And of course, fairy tales indicate from many cultures that this kind of understanding or sense that there are these beings who stand behind that which is manifest, that they exist. Current consciousness seems to be mostly devoid of that, although there are some people who, as I say, are used in my research who claim to have such experiences. So the current phase of evolution is that of the human personality, and this is what we're concerned with in education. My research shows that according to my reality, this is my personal defensible reality, that humanity has actually been prepared by all major religions for this next stage of evolution. The manifesting of, in Christianity, the Holy Spirit, Hinduism, Atman, reaching Nirvana, enlightenment in Buddhism, in Judaism and Islam. We talk about the state of paradise or heaven. And all of the religions are pointing towards some kind of an enlightened state of consciousness. And what's interesting from my research is that there currently are several people in the world who claim to be living with this new consciousness, and that they talk about this consciousness that seems to be, in near-death experiences, probably the best descriptions of that consciousness in its pure form, a kind of all-loving, all-pervading love and light, healing, cleansing, knowing. And a lot of these descriptors have been given in the various religions for this experience. So the number of people who's had this through near-death experiences or near-death-like experiences, and the religions also guide towards this. So this consciousness seems to be as different from our current form of consciousness, possibly, as our current consciousness is different from that of the higher animals. So again, some substantiation that I found makes sense for me to have formed the graph the way that I have. So science and religion are the main authorities that most of us turn to when we want to understand life and reality. And looking at the graph, I hope you are stimulated to get a sense of the intimacy between our kind of mind and the spirit and the body, the relationship, and that I hope it'll give new insights for how you perceive your own reality with a W. But also as an educator, I really hope that it'll give us some insights into education, because from many perspectives, we really lost our way educationally, and not sure towards which educational ideals we should strive or how to go about doing it. So if there is a pathway towards this next step of evolution, and if this is clearly something that we believe we should be moving towards, then I think the graph could help us. And there are several steps, guidances between our current personality or growing self, as I call us, and the next step. So it's already having an impact on me and my teaching, and my students seem to be responding quite warmly toward this blend of science, religion, and personal experience, and of course I find it most rewarding. So if you're interested, please go ahead, watch the other videos as I move through the graph in all its various shapes and sizes, stage by stage. Thanks for watching.